What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another FPL Transfer Talks video on the channel. And today we are going to be talking all things to do with Game Week 12, and there is a lot of things to discuss. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. And I want to start off by talking to you guys about the Chelsea players, and more specifically Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson and Sanchez. Right, first things first, for me this is the time now to be targeting the Chelsea assets because the fixture run is absolutely incredible, and I think they've got the best fixture run out of any team in the Premier League. As you guys can see, their fixtures are absolutely fantastic. Starting off in Game Week 12 with Leicester away from home. Absolutely brilliant fixture. Then after that, it's Aston Villa at home. And then after that, it's Southampton away and Spurs away. And then it's Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Palace. I could go on and on and on. But you guys can see right here on the screen, the fixture run for Chelsea is absolutely fantastic. Now, look, with that being said, I want to talk to you guys about Cole Palmer. Because in my opinion, Cole Palmer is actually the #1 player to own right now from this point onwards, in my opinion, even above someone like a Mohamed Salah. Right, we've seen how good Mohamed Salah has been, but for me, if you don't have Mo Salah and you don't have Cole Palmer and it's a choice between one of those two players, I'd be going for Cole Palmer every day of the week. And I know that might sound crazy because, like I said, Salah's been absolutely fantastic so far, but I think Cole Palmer, since the start of last season, has shown how good he is. Right, first things first, we know that Cole Palmer is a fantastic footballer, right, period, absolutely fantastic, and we know he's someone that can get you goals and assists because he is that good. But most importantly, Cole Palmer has shown his explosiveness in games, his ability to get multiple returns in games, his ability to get braces like 2 goals, 1 assist, his ability to score 3 or 4 goals in one game. Cole Palmer has shown he is capable of doing that on multiple different occasions, right, since the start of last season. So I think Cole Palmer is just an absolute must from this point onwards. And because Cole Palmer, in my opinion, has almost shown he's like a sort of like a flat track bully, right, in these smaller games against like your Leicesters, against your Southamptons, these are the games where Cole Palmer is going to rack up the goals and assists. I'm telling you, man, because he's shown it time and time again. So for me, he is like Chelsea's heartbeat, right? All the attacking play goes through Cole Palmer. He's always involved and he's so crucial to Chelsea. He's on penalties, he's guaranteed 90 minutes. There is not one reason why you shouldn't be going for Cole Palmer from Game Week 12 onwards, in my opinion. And guys, look, I am no expert. I say this all the time. I'm no expert, but this is just my honest opinion. I genuinely think Cole Palmer is that good, and this point onwards, I think he is going to rack up the scores, man. But with that being said, guys, look, Nicholas Jackson, he's another player that I want to talk about. I think Nicholas Jackson is also a really good option to have. Of course, like I said, the fixtures are great, but for me, I just think Chelsea going forward are one of the better teams in the Premier League, right? They do create a lot of chances and Nicholas Jackson will get service, which is why I do like him, right? He will score goals. Now, I also think Jackson is a great option to own. I do have sort of one doubt and one negative with Nicholas Jackson, and that is because we are entering sort of a period where there is going to be a lot of fixture congestion, right? We're entering that December period, that Christmas period where there's going to be games on the weekend and midweek. So with that being said, knowing that Chelsea have a big squad, they've got good quality players that can come off the bench, like Nkunku, that can even start games, right? Like Nkunku, for example, I do believe that there is a chance that Nicholas Jackson could be benched in a couple of the midweek games, for example. So I think it's a little bit riskier to go with someone like Nicholas Jackson because there is always the possibility, right? Chelsea have a really big squad and Jackson could see some rotation, right? There is João Felix, there's Nkunku that can play sort of in that number 9 position for Chelsea, right? So I do believe there is a little bit of risk going for Nicholas Jackson because of that, but still I believe he will play the majority of games. He might just get the odd benching here and there during this sort of fixture run, but nonetheless, I still think Nicholas Jackson is a fantastic option and he will get you goals in that Chelsea side with these fixtures coming up because they are a good attacking team that can create a lot of chances. So yeah, I really am a big fan of Palmer, really am a big fan of Nicholas Jackson, and I also would say, look, Sanchez. Now, look, my opinion on Sanchez is, sort of, if you're on wildcard, I do think Sanchez is a legitimate pick to go for, right? We saw how good the fixtures were. My only concern is that the Chelsea defense is not really that great. They do give up a lot of chances, in my opinion. I don't think they are the best defensive team, and I do think, you know, teams are more than capable of scoring against Chelsea. But I will say, if you are on like a wild card or something, I think at the price of 4.7 million, Sanchez could be quite a good pick in my opinion. So yeah, I don't think he's a bad pick. I think he's the thing is, I think because Chelsea's defense isn't sort of the best, right, and Sanchez will be tested, there is actually the potential for sort of high amount of points in games, because Sanchez will be having to make a lot of saves, and because of that, if he does get a clean sheet, he'll get the bonus points, he'll get the save points, and therefore he can end up on 9-10 points when Chelsea actually do get a clean sheet. But look, guys, in my opinion, overall, right, the Chelsea players should be targeted. Their fixtures are amazing, and I generally think, look, Cole Palmer, man, he is that guy, and you just have to have him from this point onwards, in my opinion. Alright, guys, so I wanted to talk to you about the Arsenal players, and more specifically, Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, Gabriel, and David Raya. Now, as you guys know, right, this is the start, well, game week 12 is the start of Arsenal's very, very good fixture run, right? They've got some really nice, favourable fixtures, and as you guys can see, they play the likes of Forest at home, West Ham away, United at home, that could be sort of a tougher game, Fulham away, Everton, Palace, Ipswich, Brentford, Brighton. From literally about game week 12 all the way up until even the Spurs at home game is a pretty decent fixture. So from game week 12 to like game week 21, Arsenal have some really, really nice fixtures, and even beyond that. So I do think Arsenal assets from this point onwards are a long-term hold, right? A really long-term hold. So I do think this is a good entry point. This is a good starting point to start sort of targeting the Arsenal assets. Look, Nottingham Forest have been a really, really good team so far this season. There is no doubt. But still, I do believe, you know, Arsenal, they've got players back, right? They've got Odegaard back. He was a big piece, a big player missing, and probably part of the reason why Arsenal haven't been looking so fluent, haven't been looking as good recently. Yes, I know Ben White's injured, but Calafiori should be coming back after the international break. They've got Timber fit, so they do have sort of most of their players back, apart from Ben White. So with that being said, I do believe their performances do pick up. I know people have their doubts. Some people are even looking to sell their Arsenal players. In my opinion, I wouldn't be doing that, right? They went through sort of a tough fixture run, right, where they played Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle. They had a red card against Bournemouth away from home. I think when you apply a lot of context to Arsenal and their results, right, in my opinion, I don't think this will continue. I think now once they've got Odegaard back, right, and they've got the majority of their squad back, as long as they stop doing stupid things like getting red cards and kicking the ball away when the referee's blowing the whistle, and they're actually able to play full games of 11 men with these easier games, I do believe the Arsenal players will do a lot better for FPL, right? Whether it's double Arsenal attack or double Arsenal defense, I just believe in general the Arsenal players will perform. I believe Saka will be a good pick. I believe, look, I do believe Havertz will be a decent pick, but I'm going to get onto that in a second. And I do believe Gabriel and David Raya will also be good picks. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about is sort of whether you go for double Arsenal attack or double Arsenal defense if you are sort of on wildcard and you're looking to triple up on the Arsenal players. Now, in my opinion, I would preferably go for double Arsenal defense. Now, I know that might sound absolutely crazy given the fact that Arsenal have been conceding week after week after week, right? They've been stinking up everyone's teams for a while now. They haven't got a clean sheet since about game week 4, I do believe, against Tottenham away from home. That was the last time Arsenal got a clean sheet, which is absolutely fantastic. But I still do believe Arsenal defensively are one of the best defensive teams in the league, right? I think Liverpool sit number 1 so far this season for the best defense. And after that, I will still say Arsenal, right? And again, as I said, I do believe with these fixtures coming up, they do get a lot more clean sheets as long as they stop doing the stupid things like getting red cards, and if they do have a fully fit squad, and they pretty much do, right? I know Ben White's injured, but with Calafiori coming back after the international break and Timber fit, they've got their sort of normal back four, right, with Timber, Calafiori, Saliba and Gabriel, right? A very, very good and well and capable back four, right? So I do believe the clean sheets will pick up. So look, with that being said, I do like Gabriel and David Raya. If you are on wildcard, for example, or even if you're just looking to transfer in a defender, I would double up on the Arsenal defense because I like these fixtures. They've got a lot of good home fixtures, and even in the away fixtures, right, like away to West Ham, for example, I think that's a game where Arsenal could easily get a clean sheet. Away to Fulham will definitely be tough given the fact that Fulham have been really, really good this season, but they've got some other good fixtures like Everton at home, Palace away, Ipswich at home, Brentford away, Brighton away. Overall, I look at Arsenal's fixture run and I can see a lot of clean sheets, right, from game week 12 all the way up to game week 20. So that's my opinion. That's why I would consider going for double Arsenal defense. But regardless of whether you want to go double Arsenal defense or not, at least one defender you should be looking to get from this point onwards, in my opinion. Now, look, the question is double Arsenal defense, double Arsenal attack. For me, like I said, I prefer the double Arsenal defense, and the reason why I don't really like the double Arsenal attack, and more specifically Kai Havertz as a pick, because at his price point, 8 million, I think he's a good pick, but when you consider the fact that there's other cheaper players that are performing to a very, very high standard, like Chris Wood, like Johan Wissa, like João Pedro now that he's back, like Danny Welbeck, there is a lot of cheaper strikers, right, that are proving their worth, that are showing their value. That's the reason for me I don't believe it's worth spending 8 million on someone like Kai Havertz. You've also got the likes of Matheus Cunha as well, Raul Jimenez. Like, there's a lot of cheaper strikers that are proving their value, and even at around his price point, I would prefer someone like an Alexander Isak or an Ollie Watkins, for example. So for me, I wouldn't really be going with someone like Kai Havertz. I just think there's a lot of cheaper players that provide better value, and even at his price point, I don't think he's the best option to go with. So yeah, that is sort of my opinion overall on the Arsenal players. For me, I would be looking to go for Saka, Gabriel, Raya. Obviously, with the Ben White injury, Timber is now an option, so you could go for someone like Timber. But I would say with the fixture congestion, it could be a slight risk. You never know. Partey could move at right back in certain games. So I think Timber is a good pick. Overall, I think Timber is actually a really, really good pick at 5.5 with Ben White being out for a couple of months. But I would say if you do go for Timber, just be prepared for some games for Timber to be benched, because I could see that happening with the rotation. You got to remember that Timber has just come back from an ACL injury. So that's the main reason why I think that he could be rotated in certain games with this fixture congestion. But overall, like I said, for me, the main three Arsenal players would definitely be Saka, Gabriel, and David Raya. So next up, we do have Erling Haaland, and I sort of just wanted to give you guys my opinion on whether or not I believe you should be selling Erling Haaland for game week 12. Now, last time I uploaded a Transfer Talks video, I told you guys that I was 50-50 on selling Erling Haaland. I gave you guys reasons for and against selling Haaland, right? Well, now if you were to ask me, should you sell Erling Haaland, the answer would be straight up yes. I believe now is the time to move out of Haaland. He's just simply not performing. He's not providing his value. He's not providing his worth. For a man that costs 15.2 million, what he's given us right now as FPL managers is simply not good enough. It's as simple as that. And when you look at the upcoming fixture run, there is no reason why, in my opinion, you should be keeping Erling Haaland. Like, if you've got a few transfers and you're able to sort of spread the funds around, I would definitely be doing that, right? I'd definitely be taking out Erling Haaland, spreading the funds, bringing in players like Cole Palmer, like Mohamed Salah, like Bukayo Saka, like Alexander Isak, Ollie Watkins. I'd be moving to these players with very, very good fixtures, right? Because look, the fixture run for Man City, it's not good. Spurs at home you could argue it's a pretty good fixture for Haaland. He can get a goal in that game, but it's longer than that, right? After Spurs, it's Liverpool, then it's Nottingham Forest who have been informed, then it's Palace away, then Man United at home, and then Aston Villa away. As a bunch of fixtures, when you cramp these fixtures up together from game week 12 to 17, I believe this fixture run is not good, especially when you compare it to other premium price players like a Cole Palmer, like a Bukayo Saka, like a Ollie Watkins, like a Alexander Isak, who have much better fixture runs. I just think it makes a lot of sense to move out of Haaland, upgrade your defense, upgrade your midfield, and upgrade the overall balance of your team, right? And you got to ask yourself as well, in these fixtures, how many times are you realistically going to be captaining a player like Erling Haaland, right? Against Spurs, you're probably not, because whilst he's playing Spurs, you've got Cole Palmer playing against Leicester, you've got Mohamed Salah playing against Southampton, and even in game week 13, when Erling Haaland's playing against Liverpool away from home, you've got, if you've got a Spurs player, you've got a Spurs player playing against Fulham at home, you've got Cole Palmer playing against Aston Villa at home, you've got Bukayo Saka playing against West Ham away from home, you've even got someone like Brian Mbeumo, who's like more of a rogue shout, but he's playing against Leicester at home. He could be a much better captain than someone like Erling Haaland away to Liverpool at Anfield. So look, even in game week 14, right, I'm going to do one more. When he's playing against Nottingham Forest at home, you've got Cole Palmer playing against Southampton at home, Southampton away from home. So look, in my opinion, there's other premium price players that you could captain instead of Erling Haaland. So when you include that as well, I just don't believe you should be keeping Erling Haaland, in my opinion. So with that being said, guys, I guess that leaves the question, well, if I am taking out Erling Haaland or I am going without Erling Haaland on wildcard, who do I go for as his replacement? Now, these are the players I would definitely be looking at to go for instead of Erling Haaland, or, if you're on wildcard, for example, Alexander Isak, Danny Welbeck, Matheus Cunha, and Ollie Watkins. Now, we'll start off talking about Alexander Isak. For me, he is the player in form. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist in his last 3 Premier League games, right? He's performing really, really well. He's getting goals, and I like the upcoming fixtures for Newcastle, West Ham at home, Palace away, Liverpool at home is definitely tough, but then after that, Brentford away from home, who've got a leaky defence, Leicester at home, who've got a leaky defence, and so do Ipswich as well. So I think overall the fixture run from game week 12 to 17 is really, really good. And look, by taking out Erling Haaland, you free up a lot of money, so you might be in a situation with your squad where you could actually bench Alexander Isak for the game against Liverpool, because selling Erling Haaland allows you to improve your overall squad. So realistically, you should be in a position where you've got sort of 5 active playing midfielders that are good enough to come in and out of your team. So if that's the case, with 5 active playing midfielders and 3 active playing strikers that are all good enough to come in and out of your team, you could be in a situation where you could actually bench Alexander Isak for that Liverpool game. But with that being said, overall, I think the fixture run is really, really good. And look, when I watch Newcastle play, it's always Alexander Isak, it's always Anthony Gordon. These are the sort of the 2 sort of plays that always look like they're going to get you goals and assists, right? They're always creating, they're always getting into the best goal scoring positions for Newcastle. Look, Alexander Isak, he's also guaranteed 90 minutes. He's on penalties. So I just think he's kind of the player that you want, given the fact that we're entering sort of a run, a period where there's a lot of fixtures, and you know, there's fixtures midweek and on the weekend. So Alexander Isak is sort of guaranteed to start. He's guaranteed to get 90 minutes because there is no Callum Wilson, and I think that's the kind of play you want whilst we enter this period where there's going to be a lot of games and possible rotation for some players as well. So look, I think Alexander Isak is going to be very, very reliable during this fixture congestion period. So that's why I would definitely be considering to buy Alexander Isak, in my opinion. Now, we also do have Danny Welbeck. Now, look, some people might say, well, look, João Pedro just come back. He just got 1 goal, 1 assist against Man City. I'm going to go for João Pedro instead. But for me, I do prefer Danny Welbeck. I think, look, João Pedro has just come back from injury. So who's to say he won't get benched again, right? I know that Hertzler is full of praise with João Pedro, right? Full of praise. He looks at João Pedro as like the star man, the star player of that Brighton attack. However, Danny Welbeck has also shown this season that he's very capable of getting goals and assists, right? Very capable of playing 90 minutes as well, and he hardly gets rotated. So I think Danny Welbeck is definitely the safer pick because he's not coming back from injury. He's fit, he's ready to play, and I just think João Pedro right now there's a little bit of a risk there, because I feel like João Pedro could get eased back into the starting 11. I don't think Hertzler will throw him straight back into the starting 11. So with that being said, I do prefer Danny Welbeck over João Pedro for now. Of course, João Pedro's got the penalties as well, and he's cheaper, so you could argue he's better value. But I think if you go for João Pedro now, just be prepared for a benching or 2, right? That's all I would have to say on that. But I still think Danny Welbeck is a great pick, a really, really fantastic pick. This season, he's just been so good for Brighton. I love the Brighton attack as well. They are genuinely one of the best attacking sides in the Premier League. We also do have Matheus Cunha. I like him as a pick again. I think the fixture run for Wolves is fantastic. And as you guys can see, he's got Fulham away from home, Bournemouth at home, then Everton away, West Ham away, Ipswich at home, and Leicester away. It's a really, really good fixture run. But again, the key point for me is we've seen how good Matheus Cunha is, but one of the key points for me is the minutes, right? That is one of the best things about Matheus Cunha. Look at the minutes here. Absolutely fantastic. He's going to guarantee you 90 minutes. There's the possibility of penalties as well, depending on what players are on the pitch. So I like him. A very, very reliable pick. And last but not least, we do have Ollie Watkins, man. I really, really do like Ollie Watkins. I think, again, I want to mention the fixture run, right? Because that is important. The fixture run, again, is really, really good in my opinion. But I actually think if you go for Ollie Watkins now, he's a massive, massive long-term hold in my opinion. So I really, really do like him. Now, there is one small downside to Ollie Watkins, and that is John Duran. There could be a situation where we see Ollie Watkins getting benched in the odd game for John Duran. So that is my slight concern with Ollie Watkins, is he's a slight minutes risk. He might not play 90 minutes. He might get subbed off early, but also we could see him possibly getting benched for John Duran. Now, that is the only concern I have with Ollie Watkins, but overall, I still do believe he's a pretty good pick in my opinion, given the fact that Aston Villa have such a good fixture run. But that is my opinion. Overall, I really do like these players. I think all players are really, really good picks on wildcard, and as Haaland replacements as well. They all free up some money. They allow you to go for players like Salah and Cole Palmer because they are a lot cheaper than Erling Haaland. Alright guys, so I quickly just wanted to talk to you guys about some of my favourite cheap defenders to buy, especially if you are on wildcard. I do like Konate, Dalot, 8, Nuri and Robinson. Now look, for me Konate, it's a no-brainer. I just think Liverpool this season have shown that they are the best defensive team in the league and one of the best defensive teams in Europe. They play such good football, a more controlled style of football. They give up less chances than usual, and I just think defensively so far this season, Liverpool have just shown that they are that team. It's simple as that for me. I think we've seen enough, right? So I'm a big fan of the Liverpool defence, and with that being said, on wildcard, I would definitely be getting Konate. Now, some people might argue the fixture run isn't the greatest, but for me, if you're building the wild card, you ideally want to be in a situation where you could sort of play Konate for the Southampton game, bench him for the Man City game. You could even start him away to Newcastle, given the fact that Liverpool have been really, really good. But you want to put yourself in a situation where you've got the decision to be made, right? Whether you bench Konate against Newcastle or not. But then you can start him for Everton, Fulham, bench him for Spurs, and then start him for Leicester, West Ham, United, Forest, Brentford, and so on. But look, overall, I think if you're wildcarding, right, you want a good player for the long term. I think you want Konate for the long term. It's as simple as that. He starts week in, week out. He's a threat from set pieces, and he plays for the best defensive team in the league. So for me, Ibrahim Konate, it's a no-brainer for me on wildcard at his price as well, 5.3 million. I would definitely be going for him, man. He's cheaper than Van Dijk, he's cheaper than Trent, cheaper than Robinson, and he starts no matter what. For me, Konate is a must-have on wildcard in my opinion. So I also do like Diogo Dalot as an option. With Erik ten Hag being sacked, I do believe there is hope for us United fans that we will perform a lot better this season, and I think our fixture run is really, really good, right? So with Erik ten Hag being sacked, I do consider some of these games to be really, really good, right? Maybe with Erik ten Hag, they wouldn't have looked as good for us, but now that Erik ten Hag is sacked and we've got a new manager, I do believe that, these fixtures look a lot more appealing. Now, Ipswich away is fantastic. Everton at home is fantastic. Then Arsenal is tough, of course, but then it's Nottingham Forest. Man City is tough, but then it's Bournemouth at home. Wolves, Newcastle. I actually just think the long-term fixtures for Manchester United are really, really good. So, look, I do like Diogo Dalot a lot as an option. And look, with Ruben Amorim, he does typically play a wing-back system. So, if Dalot does find himself playing as a wing-back, then I think that makes him an even better option because he's going to have that license to go forward. So I do like Diogo Dalot. I think he's a very, very good pick in my opinion. And look, of course, we don't know how good Man United are going to be under Ruben Amorim, right? We just simply don't know, right? But with that being said, I still do think it's worth taking the risk because I think with the fixtures, there is a high potential for sort of high upside and high amount of points, right? So that's why I do like Diogo Dalot, and I would definitely be consider buying him on wildcard. Now we've also got Ait Nouri here. Ait Nouri for me is absolutely fantastic. Simple as that. Look, I know that Wolves' defense is shocking, but with clean sheets being sort of a rarity nowadays for most teams, you also want to pick some players, some defenders that have attacking threat, and for me, Ait Nouri is probably the best attacking defender that you can get in the game in my opinion. Every time I watch Wolves, this man finds himself making runs like he's almost like a number 10 or a left winger. Like he just finds himself in just advanced positions. It's absolutely insane, right? So his potential for attacking returns is really, really high. So that's why I really, really do like Ait Nouri, because his attacking threat is just ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous. Him as a player as well, he almost plays like a winger. He's so good going forward, very skillful, very good on the ball, technically secure, and will just put himself in positions to get returns. That is the thing for me, is that he puts himself in positions where he can get you goals and assists, and that's why I do like him. And also the fixture run is pretty good as well. Of course, from a defensive point of view, I'm not going to lie, Wolves are absolutely terrible. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying to go for Ait Nouri expecting clean sheets. It's more so expecting attacking returns, right? Because as I said, clean sheets are a rarity for most teams nowadays. So you want to have sort of a couple of defenders that can get you attacking returns, and I think Ait Nouri is that guy. I just think, yeah, this fixture run is really, really good. Really, really good. So for a cheap defender that can get you attacking returns, that is so advanced. I do like Ait Nouri. And then we've also got Robinson as well, another cheap defender that I like. I will say the fixtures are good if you're able to sort of get a rotation going. And what I mean by that is, you might look at this and think, Fulham don't really have the best fixtures. They've got Spurs away, Arsenal at home, Liverpool away, Chelsea away. However, if you're able to get a good rotation going, you have got a really, really good fixture on. Now, what I will say is in between the hard games like Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, you've got Wolves at home, Brighton at home, Southampton at home, Bournemouth at home, Ipswich at home, right? Some really, really good fixtures. So with that being said, I guess you guys are going to ask me, well, who is a good defender that I can rotate with Robinson to get good fixtures? Well, that answer would be a Brighton defender. For example, let's just take Dunk. It could be any Brighton defender, but let's just take it could be Estupiñán, for example, right? Let's go for Estupiñán for argument's sake, right? When Fulham have the tougher fixtures, you will have someone like Estupiñán with good fixtures. So if I get another tab up, for example, right? Let me just show you guys what I mean. So if I get Robinson up, for example, look, so in game week 13, right, when Robinson is playing against Spurs away, you've got Estupiñán playing against Southampton at home, right? When you've got Robinson playing against Arsenal at home and Liverpool away in game week 15 and 16, you've got Brighton defender, in this case Estupiñán, playing against Leicester away and Palace at home. So you guys can understand what I'm saying. If you form a good rotation where you can bench Robinson for his tough game and start a defender like Estupiñán, whilst Robinson's got his tough games, and start the Brighton defender with the easier fixtures, then I do think Robinson is a good pick. So sometimes with defenders, it's all about rotations that you form to just basically get good fixtures in every single game week. And I do believe the Fulham and Brighton fixture rotation does work really, really well. So if you do go for Robinson on a wildcard, for example, I would definitely be pairing him up with a Brighton defender so you can bench Robinson when he's got the tougher fixtures. But yeah, that is just my opinion. I don't want to go on and on and on for too long, so that is going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Nonetheless, make sure you do smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel as well. Yeah, turn on post notifications, all that good stuff. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Hopefully this video wasn't too long, but I feel like I rambled for a while now, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy, and yeah, I will catch you in the next video. But until then, I'm out. Peace.